Avengers Assemble scene was not originally in Avengers Endgame 2019, but was put together as a way to get Dr. Stephen Strange from the planet Titan A to the Avengers compound in New York. 6. In the first draft, all of the characters had immediately returned without a cavalry moment occurring, but co-writer Christopher Marcus said that took away all of the momentum of the film. The scene had originally focused more on Rogers, but was changed to have the audience experience the portals from his perspective. 7. Several ideas for the scene had been conceived, according to the film's visual effects supervisor Dan DeLeo, including a long panning shot of all of the film's actors when they were together for one day on set, although this didn't play as well as the crew wanted. DeLeo worked with the pre-visualization team and editor Jeffrey Ford, and decided to use the portals instead. Previously dead characters returned through the portals in the order that they perished in the blip, the climactic event of the preceding film Avengers Infinity War 2018, in which Thanos eradicated half of all life in the universe. The crew also decided to slow down the characters' arrivals to give the audience a chance to welcome their heroes back. 8. The film's directors, the Russo brothers, said that they had wanted the scene to start with the killed-off character Sam Wilson radioing "On your left" to Steve Rogers, a callback to the character's first meeting, before the portals begin to open. 8. 9. They felt it was logical for the first portal to be from Wakanda, where Wilson died in Infinity War, and to have T'Challa and his Wakandan army arrive from it. 9. Peter Parker/Spider-Man, the last to die in Infinity War, was chosen as the last character to return to be emotional for audiences. 8. The scene was being worked on up until a month before Endgame's theatrical release in April 2019. Avengers Endgame delivered some of the most iconic moments in cinematic history, with the culmination of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Infinity Saga seeing nearly all of its heroes emerge in the rubble of Avengers HQ. Some were already there to fight Thanos, but most of them stepped through portals opened by Doctor Strange and Wong, having been revived when the Hulk snapped his fingers to undo the actions of Thanos from Avengers Infinity War. As it turns out, the famous "on your left" and moments which followed played out quite differently in the first attempt at creating the unforgettable moment. Dan DeLeo, a Marvel VFX supervisor on several projects and now director with Loki's second episode of Season 2, talked with comicbook.com about his time working on Endgame. It was interesting because there was a lot of different ideas, DeLeo revealed. There was a version of the cut, the day that we had all the actors together, and it was like this long panning shot across all the actors. As it turns out, the portals moments originally were not laid out in a way which gave each character their big return moments. It was the day that everyone was there, and it was like this giant, expensive in essentiality. You had all the actors there, but it just didn't play as well as we wanted, DeLeo recalled. And so it was something that I got with Previs and Jeff Ford, our editor, and we just said, we have to go with the portals and just you picking who comes out when. It was just something that I think originally it was like we knew who survived and when they were coming back, but we needed to slow it down and give the audience a chance to welcome their heroes back. And so it was so interesting in terms of like, okay, who comes from Titan first? Okay, you get the Guardians, and then Star-Lord's going to show up. And then just being in the theater that day, it's like starting, okay, we got to do Spider-Man last because Spider-Man. So it was very much crafted to be emotional, and I think it was amazing for all of us that opening weekend, how well the fans responded to it. Avengers Endgame has released several scenes which did not make the cut of its theatrical release, which was ultimately a couple minutes longer than 3 hours. while a sequence with most of the actors together did make the cut of the film, leading to Captain America calling upon the Avengers to assemble, it seems there was a dramatically different version of this sequence. Much like the "I am Iron Man" moment which followed, the crew found what worked best after several tries. DeLeo served as second unit director on Avengers Endgame before going on to make his directorial debut on Loki Season 2. Comicbook.com's full interview with DeLeo can be found on the Phase Zero channel on YouTube. Loki releases new episodes of Season 2 every Thursday on Disney+. Those who saw Joss Whedon's The Avengers: Age of Ultron this past week know that the film ends rather abruptly. While standing in front of the new Avengers lineup, Captain America proclaims, "Avengers." But before the word "assemble" can escape his lips, the movie cuts to the credits' first title card. So why was the line cut short? Apparently Joss Whedon just really didn't want to include it and actually took some extra steps to make sure that it wouldn't be put into the movie. The filmmaker was recently a guest on the Empire Film podcast, and at one point the conversation turned to the cut short final line of The Avengers: Age of Ultron. Apparently, Whedon was adamant about not including the line "Avengers Assemble" in the film, and actually took an extra bit of precaution to make sure that he didn't get strong-armed into including it. He never filmed Chris Evans saying the full line. Whedon explained. Going further, Joss Whedon stressed that the Avengers line was written in the script exactly as we see it in the movie, and that it wasn't just something that he thought up on the day of shooting. He also shared the story of how he first explained the scene to Chris Evans, and the actor evidently lost it. Said Whedon, "To know that we landed exactly where I wanted to go, however many stumbles along the way, was extremely gratifying." As was Chris Evans' reaction when I told him what we were going to do in the second movie at the MTV Movie Awards when we won for the first movie. He lost his shit. It was great. Now that Joss Whedon has actually made it a point for the Avengers to never actually say "Avengers Assemble" in the Avengers movies, I actually must wonder if this will be a thing with Marvel from now on, a sort of running gag. Ultimately, the decision will probably go to directors Joe and Anthony Russo, who are attached to helm the Avengers: Infinity War Parts 1 and 2. One can definitely see them winding up honoring Whedon's time with the franchise by keeping that phrase out of the proceedings, similar to how George Romero movies shy away from the word "zombie." Do you like the line getting cut short at the end of The Avengers: Age of Ultron? Or do you think Joss Whedon should have had Captain America say the full line? Hit the comments with your thoughts.